right, welcome back to Steeler Thoughts and Chief Feelings, episode 51, the James Farrier episode. Um, I'm your co-host Chris. I'm the philosophy professor and the Steelers fan here.
I'm your other co-host, Ajay. I'm the psychiatrist and the Chiefs fan here. Thanks to all of you who watch us here on YouTube or listen to us wherever you listen to podcasts. And to those who follow with our other content on both here on YouTube and at STCF715 on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. The comment of the week is from YouTube. It comes from at HighStepper517. I had put up a video titled something to the effect of like what happened to the Chiefs passing game against the Bills, and started off by talking about all the things that went wrong, including Mahomes having a completion percentage under 50 and being pressured on more than 50% of his snaps. And High Stepper 715 said, pressure on 50% of dropbacks sums it up, I think. Which, honestly, probably.
Yeah,
Like, good point.
that's an
Maybe I shouldn't have made the
incredible
whole
pressure
video.
rate. Yeah. Um,
But actually, as we'll talk about, there's more than just that. It was anyway. We'll get into that when it's time to get into that. I don't know if you'd rather start with the Steelers Colts game.
um, I guess we could. We should mention the previous weeks. I get the previous week's results. Just because, just for say, like I'm not trying to avoid the issue of our ridiculously bad performance against the Packers. Uh, but yeah, that sucked. That's about all there is to say about it.
I am trying to avoid discussion about the Commanders game because I have very few thoughts about it now in hindsight after the Bills game. Um, I will say I am a little disappointed. I'm really curious what I would have done last week because I really would have wanted to pick the Colts against or the Steelers against the Colts because it just felt like a good spot. It felt like Tomlin at home being under, and I didn't believe in Daniel Jones, but I get the feeling I wouldn't have been brave enough to do it. I feel like I would have had this conversation like back and forth and ultimately been like, I've picked the Steelers in some big spots this year and they haven't come through. I mean, I guess it's mainly just the Seahawks and then the Packers game that I picked the Steelers but I don't know if I would have been bold enough to do it, though I would have really wanted to. I would have been scared of the defense, but the defense really came through.
Yeah, I think I would have had like a similar kind of like it feels like the kind of game we would win, right? Especially with Daniel Jones being like, is he really has he arrived? Like I think we could, you know, you could imagine that going south, and it did go south for him, at least against us. But I don't think I would have had given the way the defense was playing, and given the way the Colts offense had been playing, I don't think I would have had the gall to actually pick us. But
So, what did you like? Overall, what I would like to argue, just to try to make some sense of it, is I feel like the defense is actually fine. They just go on some really bad runs. Like, because even in the Packers game, like, it was essentially like they were okay in the first half. And then, like, and the same thing with the Bengals game. Like, I feel like games can get away from them and then it snowballs. But I feel like they have had good stretches in every game they've played.
yeah, I think like in the Packers game, it felt like I think we were up 16-7 at halftime,
Yeah.
but it really didn't feel like we were playing well. I think the Packers were really being themselves. They had a couple third down penalties. Um, if I remember, like a turnover too. Like they were doing some stupid things that we were like not taking full advantage of, kicking three field goals in one half, but we were taking enough advantage of to be up. But it just felt like, when they start throwing it down the field on us, this is gonna get bad, and that's it felt like what happened. Um, I'm friends with a Packers fan, and he was like having a terrible first half, and I was like, I would not worry if I were you, right? Like when they open it up in the second half, we're not gonna have an answer, and it did go that way. But I don't know for the defense. I think my diagnosis might be that. So this week, there was, or against the Colts, there was this illness through the locker room. So I mean, Deshaun Elliott was out, but apparently not out. Like when I saw that injury against Green Bay, I thought he was done for the year. But apparently it was just like a hyperextended knee. So he's week to week, and
Oh, really? I thought he was out for the year too.
yeah, it looked like it. I mean,
And
the
so
way
did
he
they. They
reacted,
traded for
and
Kyle Duggar.
yeah, who was awesome. He was awesome in his first. He played like 72 of 73 snaps or something
Yeah.
ridiculous, and didn't like no obvious communication errors or anything. And Jalen Ramsey played at safety, and so I think I think the way I would explain what happened here is that we changed up our defensive tendencies a bit because we had to basically. But we played more two deep as opposed to one deep, and Jalen Ramsey was back there, and like I feel like that's not a bad place for him, right? Like
Hmm.
at this stage of his career, he's not as fast or as athletic as he used to be, but he can still like really lay the wood, and he did a couple times. I mean, he's such a good command of the field and the defense and where everyone's supposed to be. I think that's a good role for him, and it sounds like we're going to keep him there at least for one more week. We'll see going forward after that what happens. But so I think maybe part of the reason they looked so good in this one was because the Colts did not expect sort of the way we came out and played that most of that game. Um, but we got to give them credit too. Like we stopped the run pretty effectively. They didn't. Their offense did not go through Jonathan Taylor.
Well, and they've been running it like crazy. Like
Yeah.
this was, I mean, theirs was by far the best rushing offense in the league.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was essentially an on. I mean, I don't know how much to attribute the fact that we got up on them, and then they basically went into passing mode. But yeah, like it wasn't really a factor in this game, their running game. And uh, yeah, I mean, it was a good game script for us, right? It was like, and this feels like this happens frequently where in the first half we won't look that good, but we'll get a turnover or two and we'll take advantage of it and we'll be up at halftime. This has been the story for several games this year, and it was the story here too. But but then it just like became a good game for us because they had to pass to catch up, and when they were pressing to pass, our pass rush had a good day definitely, and forced them into some mistakes too. So yeah, think. I think, I mean, yes, I want to give the defense credit, but I think there was also a degree of like that game played out the sort of optimal way it could have for us, in a way that would make our defense look very good, and they did. But
Did it feel to, because for whatever reason, there was an odd decision made by some broadcasters to not put that game in New York. So I
that is,
wasn't able to watch the entire. I'm trying to remember what game. It was some stupid game that we got instead. That didn't even have anything to do with New York. I didn't even understand why. But anyway, I'm digressing.
there was a, I think Steelers Colts was like a lot of the country, if I remember
Yeah,
correctly.
it was, and so I didn't really understand why it wasn't here. Uh, oh no, this one was actually a reasonable. It was the Giants San Francisco game. That's why
Okay.
I
Yeah.
wasn't able to see it. But anyway, I was watching Red Zone and I would just see bits and pieces, but they weren't showing a ton of it, so it wasn't clear to me exactly like how things were looking like drive to drive. I mean, the Colts came down. I mean, the beginning seemed like it was like as bad as possible, right?
Yep.
Like the Colts
Yep.
came down and scored. The offense looked bad to start, and then I guess it was the Josh Downs fumble punt that kind of started things going.
I mean, even that didn't really because we fail on a fourth down there, and they got the ball back, and they were
Oh,
driving again.
right,
Um,
right.
but yeah, you would thought like there's the momentum, and then we promptly got rid of the momentum, and didn't score at all. And they were driving. I think they were near midfield. I don't remember if they were on our side or not. But then there was a TJ Watt strip sack,
Oh,
which
yes, I
really
do
got a
remember.
turn, I think.
Okay, yes,
Yeah.
that's
But it
right.
was
Okay.
like I think you got to give credit to the defense and the pass rush in particular, and TJ Watt in particular for sort of igniting things there. Sorry, I got these dogs here are just going absolutely crazy. I don't know how much you
That
can hear
was
them.
That was very much like a vintage TJ Watt strip sack too. He got around the edge so fast. That was
Yeah,
good. I forgot about that. Yeah.
that was nice. It was good to see. Like, I don't know what his numbers are this year. They're probably like comparable to not his best years, definitely, but like to years he's had in the past. It still feels like maybe it's just because he's getting like chipped more or double teamed more. But he's, other people are having to show up more, and they are. Like Nick Herbig has been pretty awesome in a couple games, and Alex Highsmith was pretty awesome in this one. He had a strip sack later in the game, but I think our pass rush is very deep, and when teams are blocking Watt with two people for Highsmith or Herbig on the other side, they're to be singled up for them is a good matchup usually. If they know the other team's passing and they can just pin the guys back, I think we've got some good pass rushers.
Yeah, and it really came together. Yeah, that was a very interesting. I mean, what do you make of the fact that like two of your signature wins this year have been like they've combined 11 turnovers in those two games?
Yeah, it's a little worrying, I guess, that I mean those have been apparently against very good teams, both of them. I guess the Patriots are very good. I don't know based on their record, but uh, it it seems like that is our sort of approach. We want to um, get as many turnovers as we can and create short fields for our offense, create momentum for our offense. And it has worked really well at times. And then there have been turnover droughts like we had the last couple weeks before this one, and we saw how those go. So I don't know. Um, I guess. I guess the fact that we have made it work a couple times, like at least gives one hope that we can beat very good teams if it works that week. Which is like what you have to do. You have to be able to beat very good teams, and you'd like to be able to do it reliably. I'm not sure that we could do it reliably, but if we can do it, at least there's a chance that we can make a run later on. And I guess that's a nice feeling to have that we have a chance of making a run.
Do you feel like the other thing is like do how much of these turnovers feel like defense inflicted and how much because my feeling watching because I got to see a lot more of the Steelers Patriots game. A lot of them seemed like good, like timely punch outs by the Steelers. It wasn't like there were situations where the offense was just being really dumb.
Yeah.
Um, what was your sense? Because I didn't see a lot of like the strip sack to me, that's just a defense being awesome. Was that the case for the other five turnovers? Or
I think it was for a lot of them. There was one of the interceptions like to Joey Porter. Actually, two of the picks were pretty easy. Joey Porter Jr. got a pick, which was cool because like this was the celebration of the Super Bowl 40 team, and like all the players from that were there, including his dad, and it was like, I guess his dad's usually there, but fun to get a pick in front of everybody like that. So he got a pretty easy pick. It was like basically right to him. And Peyton Wilson got like the easiest pick you'll ever see. He just it was like 5 yards past like deep from the line of scrimmage, and Daniel Jones just like scans over and like throws it without really realizing that there's just like he doesn't he had to take like one step maybe to pick it off, but he was basically standing still when I got to him. But the strip sacks I think were good. Sorry, we're squeaking. I don't know where we're getting all these squeaking toys from, but apparently there's an endless supply. But yeah, I think the strip sacks were definitely like defensive like creations. And I think I'm missing.
I guess the Josh Downs one seemed like
Yeah,
a other team mistake.
yeah. So maybe like three of those turnovers, three out of the six were sort of kind of lucky. um,
Which tracks, I mean, you kind of have to get lucky to get six.
yeah, yeah.
That it's kind of hard not to to get six legitimately earned turnovers.
That's right. I kind of felt that like there were at least one or two probably in that five turnover game versus the Patriots that that I think were lucky as well. I remember thinking like that Mac Jones had a turnover there that was like, oh, that was just really stupid. But I
Or Drake May.
can't call it to. Yeah, sorry, Drake. Oh God. Yeah, I was gonna say I can't remember the play that well, but I also can't apparently remember the player that well.
But you guys gave a dumb one back too. That was the one where Aaron Rodgers threw that horrible pick to Brandon Spillane.
Yeah, yeah, former Steeler,
Robert
Robert
Spillane?
Spillane. Yeah,
Who's Brandon Spillane? Where did that come from? I don't know where that came
no, all the names are a jumble here, but I know the play you're talking about. I do remember that one.
God, are we getting old? I'm starting like missing.
Yeah,
I
we
did
are.
that
I don't
last
know.
week or the last podcast or the podcast before too. I said someone's name, but at least that was like I said. Oh, it was when I was talking to Sonu. I called Brian Callahan Bill Callahan, but at least that was his
But that's a
dad.
real person. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. No. Speaking of getting old, though, this was like the 20th anniversary of the Super Bowl 40 team, or at least they had the anniversary. Like they had the team all there this week, which is like crazy to think about. But
That is, especially because it's like, I mean, we're going to the fact that the Super Bowls are now going into the 60s. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. I'm trying to remember what was which number was the first Super Bowl I watched? 29. Okay, so
so you're
oh
like
no,
over
I think
half.
it was 28, I guess. Would no, 29, no, 30. It's Super Bowl 30. That was the
Yeah,
Steelers Cowboys. So
first one I
Super Bowl
watched too.
30 is the first one I watched, and now we're at 60. Holy crap.
That's weird. That's really weird. Yeah. Um, we've been watching like half the Super Bowls.
Half the Super Bowls. Yeah. Oh my Lord. Yeah, Super Bowl 30. Ooh, that's nuts.
Yeah, that's not. I don't like that. It should be more. I think of the Super Bowl as a more storied, time-honored thing, but I've seen half of them. Like what?
Yeah.
Anyway, um, yeah. I don't know. I mean, what else is there to say about this one? So the defense had a good game. We'll see if they can keep it up, I guess, with this new arrangement of Ramsey playing safety and Kyle Duggar. But I do feel like there's some promise there for at least like a week or two, or maybe more. Teams are gonna have to figure out this new style of defense that we're playing, and hopefully we can get a few wins out of that. But the offense, on the other hand, was just kind of meh. They didn't have to do as much, I guess, because they got so many turnovers that put them in nice position. If you look at the yardage after the end of this game, I think it was pretty lopsided for the Colts. But I think like when it mattered, yeah, it was 368 to 225. Uh, I don't know. We did not run the ball well. Um, we really didn't pass it that well, but we didn't have to pass it that well, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Aaron Rodgers after the game was pretty disappointed with the offensive performance and said, like, we got to look in the mirror because this is unacceptable. 27 points is nice, but 27 points on six turnovers is maybe maybe not so nice. And 225 total yards. But again, it was the case where like we were up. I don't know. I think we were up 24-7 at the very start of the fourth quarter after the first or second play of the fourth quarter, and then it was like, okay, let's just not screw this up.
Yeah.
So you didn't have to. And so I guess in some senses it was the game script that resulted in that yardage, lopsided yardage total. But I don't know. I think there's definitely work to do on offense still. Um, Compared to that Bengals game a couple of weeks ago, this was pretty pedestrian. But I think on the other hand, that's just what the Bengals defense allows apparently
Yeah.
these days,
Yeah.
giving up
I mean
42
that
or 47 to the Bears this week.
that was really funny watching Red Zone because they kept cutting back to that game, and I'm like, someone scored again? Like I thought the game was over like three different times.
Yeah, well, it was like 42-41. The Bengals took the lead, is that right? And then
Yeah, but after being down like 42-27 or something
yeah,
like that, like I thought it was over then, and I was like, well, how are the Bengals back in this? And it's like, I thought when they cut to Caleb Williams, I thought it was going to be like, oh, he got him into field goal range. It's like, no, they caught like a whatever it
58.
was, 68 touchdowns. What is going on in this game?
Yeah. That's just apparently the Bengals defense. They remind me of the Pat Frymuth 60-yard touchdown right at the end there too. Difference being that they gave up that touchdown with enough time for us to give up a field goal. Um, yeah, I don't know what else is there to say about this one. Um,
Do you want to look ahead to the Chargers game?
yeah,
Sunday Night Football again?
yeah. I think what to make of that one. I don't. I haven't watched enough of the Chargers recently to sort of give a really well-rounded evaluation or prediction. I guess I'm happy that it's Sunday night because I think every time I can remember us playing a West Coast game at like 4 o'clock, it goes badly. So I do remember winning a couple times Sunday night and back when I was San Diego.
Was the
But
Duck Hodges game? What weren't they in LA by then?
I think
Or
so. Yeah, I think so.
yeah,
That's true. The Duck Hodges game. Yeah.
that's how I will
Um,
always remember that game. I can't believe the Steelers won that game. I was so happy.
I don't. Yeah, that was in hindsight like very characteristic, but it's just like we had no business winning that. And somehow we there was another one where like it was back when we still had Ben Roethlisberger and he was injured, and it was like we won it on a wildcat play to Le'Veon Bell at the last second. Um, it was also I think a Sunday night game. That was back in San Diego, I'm pretty sure. But
There were like there was a period, it feels like between like 2012 maybe and like 2017, where the Steelers had a lot of these like barely getting over the goal line at the end of the game in situations where you would have lost if you hadn't scored a touchdown. Like
yeah,
maybe I should go a little farther back because I think that Santonio Holmes against the Ravens was probably before 2012. But
that
I
was
remember that
2010, I think. Yeah,
2010.
which
And I
were
remember it
like to be honest, that was one where I'm still not convinced the
probably not a
ball
touchdown.
broke the plane. Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Like his feet were in the end zone, but um,
But there
we
was
had that.
that.
We had the
Antonio Brown had a reach. Yeah. Like,
against the Ravens also. Yeah,
and then the Le'Veon Bell one. Like, there were a lot of really dramatic end of game touchdowns.
yeah, yeah. Uh,
The
and then there
Bell
was the
one against
Jesse
the
James
Chargers,
drop.
if I remember. Oh, God.
Yeah,
Yeah.
against the Patriots.
Uh, that wasn't a drop today's standards, but it
Right.
was a drop by those.
Yeah.
But the Bell one, if I remember correctly, didn't he have to? Wasn't that like a second effort touchdown? Like, didn't
Yeah,
he
it
like
wasn't
not
like
quite
it was
get there
not a
and then he
clear
somehow?
touchdown live. Yeah. Um, that was
Oh.
I think Mike Vick was starting for us in that game.
You always beat the Chargers with the
With
dumbest
like
quarterback.
yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't so, I don't know if it's a good sign or a bad sign now that we have like a more established quarterback in Aaron Rodgers. But he's maybe this Aaron Rodgers is more like that Michael Vick from that year or whatever that was
Yeah.
than sort of prime Aaron Rodgers. So maybe it's a good sign. Maybe yeah. Go in with suboptimal quarterback play and somehow we win. But
Honestly, like I am not. First of all, like if your defensive line comes to play, I don't see any reason why you wouldn't just rough up the Chargers offensive line. Like now Joe Alt's out for the
yeah,
season. They don't
that's
have any tackles. Like the defensive line should absolutely control this game. And I am hopeful that it's not just that like this new Ramsey Duggar alignment is different, but I think this might be like a Rod Woodson situation where you take a guy who's like lost kind of the step that made him an elite corner and now can be an elite safety. Uh, I
yeah.
think that would be really cool. And it's certainly possible, which is how I'm going to hope that this goes.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope so too. I mean, like it seems like he is apparently he gave a very fiery speech to the team the night before this game, and then the thought was that a couple people said that seemed like it changed the attitudes in the locker room. So, if this is working for him and he's happy to do it, which it seems like he is, like Tomlin keeps praising the heck out of him, like he'll do whatever we ask of him, and he's been amazing. I mean, he also has gotten beat for touchdowns, of course, but
He'll do that too if they ask.
Right. If we ask him to get beat for touchdowns, he can do that. Um, but yeah, I mean, this could be fun. I mean, I don't know exactly where that leaves, like what we do at safety going forward after that. But if this is working, that's awesome. So
What did they have a role for Juan Thornhill in this game?
he was, I think, just benched because he wasn't playing well.
Poor Juan.
Yeah,
I always have a soft spot for that guy.
poor one. Yeah. Um, yeah, no, I think I was optimistic about him being a key piece for us, but I mean, he still could be, I guess, but not at the moment.
So, what do you think will happen in this game against the Chargers?
I mean, I guess it, I don't know, part of me feels like, right, it does feel like the defensive line should dominate, the pass rush should dominate, but every time it feels like that going in, it's like never as good. Well, I mean, maybe that's not right. Maybe, but what stand out in my mind are the ones where we should and we don't dominate on the defensive line, or whatever. It usually is the defensive line. So I wouldn't be like that surprised if we get a very bad amount of pressure in this game, very small amount of pressure, and it's more of a nail biter. Uh, I don't know. It feels like a 23-20 game. I just don't know who gets 23. Um, I think probably we get 23, but but I'm not that confident. Yeah, I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I feel like I have a similar score range. I it's hard for me to see the Chargers winning this game, and I don't mean that to say that I think it'll be a blowout, but I just don't know that, like, especially with the way that the secondary looked better. I mean, the Colts have had so many answers right now if you're looking for like scheme, and I think that's what the Chargers are going to need. Essentially, like Quentin Johnson has been playing better this year, and I mean, he's like, I couldn't believe him just like routing people up sometimes. I don't know, I was so convinced he was going to be a bust. So this year has been really, a slap in my face. But Lad McConkey's also really good, but that's
Yeah,
about, I don't know. I just, not a lot is scaring me from the Charger. Herbert has been using his legs more, which I think can be very effective, but I don't know that with the number of times the Steelers play zone, I'm not that worried about it. And you have a guy like Peyton Wilson and a freaking Patrick Queen. Like, you have the fastest linebackers in the league. There's so, Patrick Queen's ability to run people down just like absolutely stands out. Like, it jumps off the screen with how fast he is.
I do feel like it's.
Um,
I haven't said enough about him this year, but he's definitely playing faster this year. I think he knows the defense better. He knows what he's supposed to be doing. You can see the speed showing up.
it's crazy. I mean, there's nobody beats him to the sideline. It's just
Yeah.
like it's crazy. And so I don't know. I think the offense will do just enough. I feel pretty similar about the score. I'd say like 23-17. I don't know that it'll ever feel that comfortable, but I don't think that the Chargers will ever look like really convincing that they're going to win the game.
Yeah. There we go. Two predictions of a Steeler win, which is like I don't know what the line is here, but like I think objectively, probably you would expect the Chargers to win this, right? I don't know. I
I
don't
could
know.
see the Steelers being like a very slight, like 1.5 point favorite or something. No, it's Chargers by 2.5.
Okay. Yeah.
The one thing I'll also say, I don't know why I say one thing as if I ever only say one thing, but uh, there will be a lot of Steelers fans at this game. I wouldn't be surprised if it's 75% Steelers fan.
Yeah, it does seem like that's the case whenever we play in San Diego or LA. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if there are a lot of Steelers fans there. But I should mention though, when Green Bay came to Pittsburgh, there were a lot of Packers fans there. Apparently, we had to
Oh,
go to the
really?
silent count at one point on offense,
Wow.
which is like that's pretty crazy.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's,
but Packers fans travel well.
yeah,
Maybe better than
apparently.
Steelers fans.
Wow, maybe the Steelers fans had like big meetings Monday morning. They were like, we're not doing this on Sunday.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, okay.
That's
Well, should we
surprising.
transition? I mean, we got to take a break in a few minutes. Do you want to start talking about the Chiefs Bills game, or is there anything more that you wanted to say about the Commanders game? I know you didn't really want to say anything about it, but
No, not really. I mean, the Commanders game kind of it was sloppy at the beginning because the Chiefs turned the ball over a couple times, and I think that they kind of were allowing what it looked like to me was that the Chiefs were a little bit what's the word? A little neglectful of or like overconfident about just letting people get to the flats, and that was really allowing the Commanders to move the ball in the first half, and they tightened that stuff up in the second half, and suddenly they couldn't move the ball anymore.
yeah,
And the offense, I feel like, was okay throughout. They just turned the ball over a couple times. One thing that I didn't feel like enough people mentioned, like Collinsworth and them didn't mention it at all, although they did mention it on the Manning cast when I went back and watched that, is that, and Jared Goff's actually the guy that picked it out. He was a guest. The pick that Mahomes threw, the second one, where he was trying to throw to Kelsey and it went off his hands,
yeah,
that pass wasn't intended for Kelsey.
really,
Uh, Juju Smith-Schuster was running behind in like this hook zone, and Mahomes was trying to fire it into him, and Kelsey was running like an option route, and he saw Mahomes throwing and ran into the path of the ball to try to get to it. And I think that's why like Kelsey was surprised by the speed of the throw. It's because he wasn't throwing it that underneath like that. He was throwing it 5 or 6 yards deeper, and that's why
yeah.
it had so much zip on it.
Oh, that's a pain. It's like would Juju, I assume, would have been open for that
Yeah,
if
he was open. Yeah.
that's annoying. Uh, yeah, okay. Well, I mean, nevertheless, when they stopped turning it over, and I guess they buckled down on the flats on in the second half on defense, and like it seemed like it was kind of a tale of two halves.
Yeah.
Second half was pretty easy compared to the first
Yeah,
half.
it was generally uneventful. Yeah, I think it was 7-7 at halftime, and the final score was 28-7.
Yeah, yeah. Um,
So that was that game. The Bills game, it's a so two things are true in the Bills game. One is that we really got manhandled in the trenches on both sides of the ball. Uh, Pass rush was anemic, and three offensive linemen had really, really rough days.
mm,
Jalen Moore on the left side, Joey Bosa was just eating his lunch. Jawan Taylor on the right side, who that was surprising because he had been playing well. Like Jalen Moore was slowly looking worse every week. He looks like a guy that was like he's a backup tackle who started playing well, and then teams started to realize what he wasn't good at, and they started getting more and more of an idea, and it all came to a head in the Bills game.
mm,
That's what the narrative feels like from him. Juwan Taylor, I don't know. He just had a bad day or something. Or maybe, I mean, he ended up getting hurt at the end, so maybe he had was like a nagging injury. And then the other one was Trey Smith at right guard, who was coming back from an injury and clearly was not 100%. Like
mm.
that's one of the worst games I've ever seen Trey Smith play on film. So there was that. Our offensive line got destroyed, and our defensive line did not play well in the pass rush. But this game plan, this was like I'm as confused after this game as I was after the Raiders game when I was saying like I don't know what to make of this because the Raiders look terrible.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know what to make of this Chiefs performance because the Chiefs were not doing any of the things that they have been doing when they've been playing well. Like
Mm,
they did not run any of the concepts I would have expected them to run. They did not adjust to like when they were against zone looks, they were playing routes that looked like man beaters. Everything was down the field. They weren't running any of the kind of crossers and stuff they always run. I don't know. And on defense, they were trying stuff that they hadn't tried all year and it wasn't working and they weren't. I don't know. Well,
they were.
we can take a
Oh,
break, but we'll get into this more. But I don't know what to say.
so yeah. Okay. Curious. Well, we'll have to come back and try to figure out what was going on there, or at least speculate about what was going on there. Yeah, we'll be back in just a bit
And we're back.
with more on the Chiefs Bills game, trying to figure out what the Chiefs game plan was, and why that's what it was. Yeah.
I am going to really try to organize my thoughts because I have a lot of different thoughts about different aspects of this game, and I feel like it will get very disorganized very quickly. But, first things first, I think so. The video that I did where I said, what happened to the Chiefs passing offense specifically, ultimately I settled on three different things that I thought were problematic. I thought that number one, the offensive line, three guys had bad days, and they're things that I'm not expecting to be long-term problems because Josh Simmons is now back, so he will take over at left tackle. Trey Smith, I mean, I'm hoping, unless he's just going to be unhealthy for the rest of the year, like the fact that they brought him back for this game makes me think that he'll probably be okay after we have a bye coming up now. So that he should probably be okay once we get back. And Jawan Taylor was looking as good as he's ever looked in Kansas City for the 3 weeks or so before, really since the Ravens game. So I don't know. Maybe he just had a bad day. And so I'm hoping that after the bye, everything will be okay from that front. So that doesn't really worry me. Switching over to the defensive line, that does worry me a little bit more because the way that the Chiefs' defensive line has worked in past years was that Chris Jones was like otherworldly. He's been really, really good. And then George Karlaftis has been kind of the number two, who's been able to clean up stuff based on that. Charles Omenihu at times has been like almost the number two, but has been clearly like a good three. And then guys like Mike Dana would kind of round it out as like, provide enough juice at times that is helpful.
Yeah.
Well, this year, Chris Jones is not playing as well as he did before. He's still been good, but he hasn't been like best defensive tackle in the league good. And unfortunately, the team kind of relies on him to be that in order to have an effective, consistent four-man pass rush. So that's been problem number one. I think Karlaftis has been a little bit better than he has been in the past, actually. Like, he's the one guy that has taken a step forward. But the effect of that is so much less because the drop-off from Jones has been so impactful.
Yeah.
I think both Omenihu and Mike Dana have also taken steps back. They're just not playing as well as they have in past years. Mike Dana, I feel like the step back actually happened before last year. And
Did you see this coming from Jones?
no, I mean, we always thought it could, but it's the way I heard Seth Kaiser, who is on like the Kansas City Sports Network and has a Substack, the Chief of the North Substack. He put it well, I think. He was essentially like Chris Jones will make 1 to 2 like superstar level plays in a game, and he used to make 4 to 5. And the defense is kind of based on him making 4 to 5. And I think from last year, it was clear that he wasn't quite the guy that could dominate whenever he wanted to. He was more like he would dominate the right matchup instead of previously he just kind of could turn it on whenever he wanted to. This year, it's much more like he can dominate at certain moments. He'll make a splash play here and there. Like he was actually very instrumental in the drive that forced the Bills punt that gave us a chance to come back and tie it. But the question is like where are the answers going to come for in the defensive line? I don't think we can expect anything more from Karlaftis than what he's doing. I don't know that, we're now 9 games into the year. I don't think Chris Jones is going to start playing better unless we find out that he had some kind of injury or something that he's overcoming. Dana, I mean, we've had a year and a half now, this sample size. Omenihu, you wonder if the injuries have caught up with him. Like, he just isn't quite the same. So then the real hope for the fourth man pass rush is Ashton Gillotte. if the draft pick, who's been like he's been okay. Like, and so then the question is, can he be as good as like Karlaftis was his rookie year? Could we get to that level? Maybe by the playoffs. Like, I don't think he's ever gonna be like a great, number. He's not gonna be like a number one defensive end ever, but could he be like a good three? Like then, someone who could be your third best pass rusher on a really good pass rushing team. Like, yeah, maybe. And like our second best defensive end, hopefully. So that's probably the only potential for improvement. Otherwise, I don't know. We don't really have any answers.
Yeah. I mean, is there a way? I mean, I guess like every team needs solid defensive line play if they're going to be good on defense. But is there a way that the to design the defense that would not rely on them to get as much pressure?
Yeah, I mean, and we've done that. I think in 2023, the pass rush was so effective partially because the secondary was so good. And so the question is, if the secondary can play at a level where they're giving the pass rush, 3 to 4 seconds to get home, which is what the Bills were doing against us, actually.
Yeah.
But we can get to that a little bit more in a minute. Yeah, it's definitely possible. And like, I could see Ashton Gelati at the end of his, by the playoffs playing as well as like a rookie year, Karlaftis. Like, it's possible. Um, and if I don't know what the problem is they need Chris Jones to play a lot of snaps because our defensive tackle depth is terrible. So we're really thin. We lost Omar Norman Lott, which made it even more thin.
Is he
And
done for the
and
year?
yeah, he's out for the year. He tore his
Yeah.
ACL. So, and to be fair, like there have been like against the Raiders, the pass rush looked good, and but the Raiders' offensive line's terrible.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know. And you always believe with the scheming of Steve Spagnuolo that the defense can be effective. I'm not at the place where I don't think the defense can be effective enough for us to win a Super Bowl. And I really do think this offense is very good. So I think that combination, then you're looking at like the 2019 team where you had a very good offense and a defense that was like middling, and that's good enough to win a Super Bowl. So it could all come together that way. But we are going to need some guys to be able to ratchet it up in the playoffs, I think.
Yeah. Um, on so do you think is that the main problem that the offense had in this one that the like those three players on the line were just having really bad games? But you also mentioned that they got away from some of the things that they had been doing that were effective.
Yeah, I mean, it
Is
sounds
that
like really,
do you
yeah.
want to? Sorry, I changed tack entirely back to the offense, but we
No,
can stay
I
there.
didn't have much more on the defensive line. This is where, and we can kind of go back offense and then defense again, because there's the trenches part, which we've covered, and then there's the game plan part on both sides. And one thing is clearly true is that the Bills came into this game with like if they game planned for this game, like the Chiefs would game plan in the playoffs. Like it was like we know all the stuff you're going to do, all the basic plays, like the Chiefs' easy button plays were the plays that they've used before, and the Bills had seen them before, and they were ready for it, and they were just driving hard on. Cole Bishop, like he's a safety for the Bills, who's in his second year, and honestly, like watching the film, like he looked like Troy Polamalu. Like he was everywhere. Like every gadget Chiefs play that we did, he was there. He was on top of it. He recognized it. He was breaking it up. And I don't know, I don't watch a ton of Bills film, but people are saying that Cole Bishop has not been a good pro. Like this
Really?
was like, yeah, and this was like elite play. Like this was at like a game that you would put on someone's Hall of Fame reel. Like he was so good. And it felt like every major pass breakup, it was him. He was everywhere.
That's
And
that's to have like a game like that out of the blue is very strange.
yeah, I mean, and it kind of, the one thing that doesn't compute with all of this, like this would make so much more sense to me if the Chiefs were 7-1, but we're 5-3. Like if we were 7-1, I'd be coming here being like the Chiefs didn't really take this game seriously. Like it doesn't feel like they did not have a game plan that was very tailored to the bill. One thing that I think was true is that they expected the Bills to play a lot of man on money downs, and they were playing man in the first half. But in the second half, they largely switched to playing zone. And the Chiefs against zone, a lot of times, were still running man beating concepts. And it was like, I mean, they don't do that. I've never seen them do that. Like, and they don't run like the Chiefs. We've always complained the opposite that they don't do enough vertical stuff. They were running these like switch release vertical routes play after play. I mean, they clearly thought coming into the game they'd be able to block better than they could. But I don't know, like, and then they didn't adjust. Like they didn't adjust to it at all.
Hmm. Yeah.
I I don't know what to, and they had been starting to run under center more. They didn't run under center hardly at all in this game. They had been using RPOs a lot effectively. I didn't see even RPOs in this game. They had been really like getting Rashee Rice isolated on a linebacker. Like I didn't see any efforts to do that. Like when we were throwing to Rashee Rice, it was like behind second level defenders. That was the other thing that was so weird. They would be playing zone, and we didn't have like a reliable underneath route to hold the linebackers up so that we could throw behind them.
It's just everything was going, but trying to go
Everything
behind.
was going down the field.
Yeah.
Like Andy Reid does flood concepts all the time. It just didn't make any sense. Like,
Yeah.
and we know that Andy Reid's not stupid. So that's like, what were we doing?
Yeah.
Like, it looked like a game. Like if we were 7-1 or 8-0, then you're coming into this game being like, listen, we're not like we're gonna punt this game. We're gonna see them in the playoffs. Like that's what it looked like. Except we're 5-3, and now we're 5-4. Like you can't
Yeah.
afford to do that. So I don't understand it. I don't get it at all. Like I have no idea what was going on.
Huh. That's that is a that is puzzling, right? This is not what the Chiefs do, right? They don't run man-beating concepts against zone repeatedly. They
And
don't.
especially not down the field. We do some like weird shallow stuff sometimes. Someone made this point. I think it was Matthew Lane from Kansas City Sports Network, who was like, "We know what a Chiefs mail-in game plan looks like. It's like a bunch of crossers over and over and a bunch of bubble screens. Like they weren't doing that. I don't know what they were doing."
We love the bubble screens even in our in our like serious game plans. Um, yeah, that's weird. I guess that probably makes it hard to evaluate like the QB and receiver play, given that you're running these plays that are not going to work against these defenses. But like, what can you get a read on like how like Mahomes played in this or how any of the receivers played in this?
I don't think it was one of I like. I'm trying to think because Mahomes has generally played pretty well this year. This might have been his worst game of the year, and I think part of it was, early on when we were seeing man, he was late on a couple throws. Like he missed Rasheed Rice on an out route on third down. I remember him missing a corner pattern to Noah Gray. Just those kind of things that you'd expect him not to miss. And I think it was partially just being late, which usually when he's late, it's because he's not trusting what he's seeing. Like he's not throwing with anticipation.
Mhm.
And I think part of that was the Bills were kind of so one thing that they did do that I think affected the Chiefs, especially with their offensive line playing not playing well, was they were rotating their coverages and their safeties really late. So I think they were forcing Patrick Mahomes to hold the ball a little longer than he normally does to just like make sure he could tell what was going on. So, and then with the offensive line not playing well, I think that was very
Yeah,
effective in
yeah,
getting pressure on him. And definitely by the end of the game, like he was spooked. He was not trusting his line to hold up. There was one pretty like the one clip went around a lot of him just escaping an empty pocket. I broke that play down on the film review too. So it wasn't his best work. That being said, like he hucked a ball downfield and got hit Tyquan Thornton in the hands on the second to last play of the game on a pass that if Thornton had been able to bring it in, that would have tied it.
oh yeah,
So like he did have some, good plays down the field too. So and it wasn't his best game, but I don't think he played poorly. For example, the interception I think was a completely calculated move. Like again, they were going down the field. I mean, it was 3rd and 10, and I think that like Wanya Morris got beaten immediately by Joey Bosa. He knew he wasn't going to have time for the actual concept to play out. He knew they were going to punt it on 4th and 10 in that situation. So I think he just hucked one downfield and was like, let's see if we can make something happen.
Yeah.
And it didn't. And I mean, it wasn't any worse than a punt, you know? So like there were plays like that where I don't think it was really Mahomes's, like, I don't care about that interception whatsoever. Like, as far as the receivers, I do think we need to start having a Xavier Worthy conversation. He's just not as good as I thought he was going to be. Especially, he looked so good in that Ravens game.
Yeah.
And you know, before the Jaguars game, then came out that he had an ankle injury, and I know he's got the torn labrum too. So maybe he's just laboring out there, but he doesn't. It just has not looked the same since that Ravens game.
Mhm.
And for like there was a crossing route where it was a play where ultimately Mahomes he ended up trying to throw it to Kareem Hunt in the flat, and he got hit while he threw, and the ball came out, and there was a question about whether it was fumble or not, and it was an incomplete pass. On that play, was one of the few times they ran a crossing route. They ran it to Worthy, and they had Kelsey kind of running the hook route, and Worthy, you know, maybe it's like PTSD after he got nailed on the crossing route by Kelsey, but he was didn't quite like avoid the linebacker and slowed down. And the fact that he slowed down meant that when Kelsey sat in the hook, like Worthy was kind of in the way and Worthy's defender was in the way. So like Mahomes couldn't throw it to either one of them. And so there are things like that that you'd hope would not be a problem by this deep into your second year.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we know that he's capable of running a full route tree, and they don't have him running a full route tree. And I don't know. The usage was so confusing in this game but it's been somewhat consistent with Worthy. He's just not looking like quite the same player. So I don't
Yeah.
know.
That's surprising to hear that there's like concern there because like last year it was like, oh, he's gonna be. I mean, he's got all the tools to be that good in your first year. It's just like you don't do that really. Um, but yeah, I mean, maybe it's just like the injuries are sort of nagging him this year, and he's not quite. I don't know, but then that doesn't really explain why he's not running the full route tree.
Yeah, especially because like he can run off defenders so well, and he's like teams are respecting that deep ball so much that you'd think the intermediate routes would come wide open for him, you know, like
Yeah,
just comebacks and curls and stuff. Like, and the other part of the offense that is confusing is like Tyquan Thornton is like absent now, and he had played so well. And I agree with some people that are, you know, usually this is like sounds like a reactionary fan thing to say, but I actually agree with it. People are like, I think right now Tyquan Thornton's a better deep threat than Xavier Worthy, and it's like I kind of
that's
I
weird.
tend to agree.
I mean, he has
Like,
been reliable this year. Yeah,
yeah, and
but
he's not like a great contested catch guy as we see in some of those, but he will go up and get the ball, and he will adjust to the ball.
yeah. Um, um, that's strange. I mean, how much of this is just a function of like the the play calling being weird and were they not getting the kinds of routes that would even succeed against the defense in the first place here?
I think that's a lot of it. It it's also like clear on film that he doesn't have like the like walk away speed that he did before.
Yeah,
Like he just looks a half step slower than he did last year. And I mean maybe I should look at the Ravens game a little more closely, but I he felt really fast watching that film
yeah,
like too. But yeah, he definitely seems like he's hurt. There are a couple people that looked hurt. You know, Worthy looks hurt. Trey Smith looked hurt. Jawan Taylor looked hurt. Like it just they weren't playing like we expect them to play. And Worthy has been like this for weeks now.
yeah. I thought Kareem Hunt had a couple like really nice looking runs in there. But maybe those are just standing out because they were good. But, like it seemed like he had a good game and could have had a better game if if the game script had been different and there was more time to establish more of a running game. Is that right?
Yeah, I think that's true. And I think that like being down Pacheco, I don't know that they wanted to run Hunt into the ground. Like they kind of did that last year where he, he doesn't have the juice he did last year, or he did when he was first in Kansas City. But he certainly like lost juice during the season last year. Like I felt like when he first came on the scene, I think it was like week 3 or 4 or something, maybe
Yeah.
week 2. Um, no, it was week 4. It was against the Chargers. For a couple weeks there, like he was like, "Whoa, this is
Yeah.
just like a 85-90% of like 2017, 2018 Kareem Hunt." And then by the end of the year, like that just wasn't true anymore.
Mhm.
So I don't know that Andy Reid's ever going to give Kareem Hunt a ton of carries because I think they want to keep him like reliably a weapon later in the year. Weapon is a very strong word, but something close to a weapon at least.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh, okay. Uh, I mean, should we go back and talk about the play calling on defense now? Since is there anything else to hit on offense before then?
No, I don't think so. Except that like Cole Bishop was a demigod, and well, in just that aspect. I mean, I guess it falls under the play calling stuff we've been discussing, but like just the Bills were like I don't know they were just ready for what the Chiefs do, and the Chiefs weren't going to do anything other than what they just do. Like all the easy button, like third down plays, it was like, okay, we're going to run Worthy across the formation and try to get a quick out to him, or like the stuff that we do all the time, or we're going to run the motion underneath and leave the end unblocked and then run a play action off of it. And the corner from the Bills blitzed, which I thought was a really nice wrinkle. They were essentially like, we're going to ignore all the motion you do. And when you're doing all this like crazy misdirection stuff, we're just going to come right after Mahomes.
Mm.
Like run right through your window dressing and right to him. And it worked.
Yeah.
So defensively, not quite the exact same problem. It was almost like a weird game plan in the other direction. Whereas on offense, the Chiefs just kind of ran their staples and then ran a bunch of vertical routes that were not that effective against zone. On defense, the Chiefs did things they had never done all year, and the players didn't seem capable of doing it. Like they put Noah Williams in the slot at one point with McDuffie on the boundary. They ran a Tampa 2 where they had like McDuffie as a deep safety, and it ended up that like the whole runner, which was Shamari Connor and I think Brian Cook and Trent McDuffie, all three of them are running with one receiver deep. And then like that clears out the intermediate area completely. I don't know. They were like the Chiefs usually throw wrinkles. They don't run them badly though. Like this was like they threw wrinkles and did it badly with them. And again, like just didn't nothing looked like the Chiefs normally look. Like usually you see Nick Bolton like on film, you can see it. He's running around, he's moving people. Like there just wasn't that intensity. I think what it really felt like it was just like the Chiefs came in both offensively and defensively and were like, here's the game plan, here's what we're gonna do. And if someone raised their hand and was like, okay, but if that doesn't work, what are we gonna do? They're just like, it doesn't matter, we're just gonna do it. And that's how they played. They were just like, we're doing it. Like it's fine. It's not working, like it's okay. Let's keep doing it. Like and again, I don't have an explanation as to why. Like I don't know what they were thinking. Because surely they could not have been thinking like it's okay if we go to 5-4. Like that just seems ridiculous. I don't, and like we've said before, like last year when the Chiefs lost to the Bills when they were 9-0, we had a similar discussion. But it was like I don't even in those situations ever think the Chiefs are not trying to win. I think they are not willing to show all their cards if they don't have to, but they're always trying to win.
Yeah.
And this team, especially when you're 5-4, like 5-3, like I mean, come on now, you really got to win.
Yeah.
Honestly, when they came into this game 5-3, they had the Bills coming, then the next one is going to be at Denver, and then at home against the Colts. Realistically, you got to win two of those three games. So now that makes the next two must wins.
Yeah.
Certainly the Denver game's a must win.
Yeah.
Denver's 8-2 and we're 5-4.
That's that's still strange. Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't get it. Like I said, if they had more wins, I would have been like, well, they just got arrogant and they were like, fine if we lose this. But you couldn't have had that mindset at 5-3. So what happened? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like how much of it is, I mean, the Bills played well, right? Like they like
Yeah.
um Josh Allen, like yeah, he had a good game, right? I mean, he was like 23 of 26 or something, is that right?
Yeah.
Like
But
this
for
is a
example, like if you remember Chiefs Bills games from the past, like you will recall Josh Allen like making just like dimes, like throwing just like beautiful passes that in the right spot because the defense was right there. Like, did he do that one time in this game? Like, did he did? I don't think he
that's a
had
good point.
to. Like,
Yeah, he didn't have to, right? They were just like they
yeah,
were open receivers
everyone
or
was wide open. Like,
yeah.
that's the part that's weird. It's like he played well, but like we normally really challenge him, and he, to his credit, is up for the challenge. Like he absolutely throws darts, but like I don't remember. There was one play. Remember when he had to like he got Nick Bolton, and then he ended up like threatening to run and shovel passing it to a
Yeah.
tight end. Like
Yeah.
that was one, and I'm trying to think if there was a. Like, there were not a lot of like those Josh
Like
Allen moments
pinpoint
that he seems
or
like he
like
has like
right.
10 against us, you know?
Yeah.
We just
Yeah.
never made him work that hard.
Yeah. Yeah, that's weird. You pointed out and it does seem right. And um there weren't a lot of those like, pinpoint, drop in the hole shot or anything like that. Um yeah. I don't know. It's baffling. I mean, in some sense that it makes it hard to know where like what to predict next from here, right? It's like are they this is like such an atypical game that it's like hard to know what lessons to extract from it, I guess. I mean maybe there's some of the lessons about like Chris Jones not being as dominant as he has been, Worthy being not as fast as he has been are those are extrapolatable, I guess. But in terms of the play calling, yeah, like what? I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, the only, like, my only explanation, like I said, and it's stupid, but I think that and like, I just think they weren't willing to adjust. They weren't willing to show any more or do any more. Why they were willing to keep running like verticals against zone without, I don't know, but I, I just, I don't know. Like after all of this, like I still think the offense is good. I still think the defense is good enough. I fully expect us to beat the Broncos after the bye, not to like jump on my prediction for next podcast, but like,
I mean, how could you? That's that. Right. I was thinking the same thing when you said they were 8-2. I didn't realize they were 8-2. They're not that good, right? Like the Chiefs are definitely better than the Broncos. Isn't that obvious? I mean, it seems obvious. Maybe I'm biased, but
I mean, the funny thing is the Broncos are essentially doing what the Chiefs did last year, and everyone was on the Chiefs like, well, you're barely winning these games, you're
yeah.
getting lucky at one score games, it's unsustainable. I mean, that's exactly what the Broncos are doing. They're just pulling these games out of their rear end.
Yeah, but at least with the Chiefs last year, like you knew that, like okay, but they have shown they have an extra gear repeatedly over the
Yeah, I
years.
mean, and Patrick Mahomes he's won like Scott Kazmir finally like did an analysis because remember we keep talking about how like everyone's like, well, these one score games are like 50-50, and it's like, yeah, but not if you have a great quarterback. And I
Yeah,
think Patrick Mahomes wins something like 68% of his one score games. And I feel like That's his mean. When you say like regression to the mean, like that should be the number, like 68%. Like
Yeah.
that's what you expect him to do. So yeah, going 12-0 last year was not sustainable, but we're what, like 0-4 this year? That's also not the case either, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, that's weird. Um, yeah, I guess so. We don't need to predict the Broncos game, but we both expect the Chiefs to win the Broncos game in 2 weeks or 2.5 weeks. But actually, no, a week and a
A
half,
week and a
really.
half, yeah.
Yeah. Um, yeah. Um, is there anything else you want to hit from this one? I mean, it seems like it's just such a, yeah, it is a strange game um, to try to do analysis of when it's such an outlier in so many respects.
I mean, I think that's what it's going to be. I think it's going to be a situation where when we're recapping the season, we're going to be like, well, that game made no sense. Like, I don't know what to take from that game. Like, it made no sense and it doesn't really impact or, it was not, I am not attempting to project anything for the rest of the year from that game,
Yeah, yeah, um,
except the line play, like we talked about with the pass rush.
yeah, yeah. But not the offensive line play. I think you were saying no, we can't project that out.
I'm not worried about that. Yeah.
I mean, they have been so good. But you know what I saw recently? Speaking of Chiefs Bills, I saw like it just came up on I don't remember if it was TikTok or something, but I saw the end of the 13 seconds game. And that was like it was amazing. I hadn't like relived that in a little while. Like man,
What's so funny is there were so many like awesome moments in that game, but for whatever reason, the one that gets me the most is still the like 63-yard touchdown of Tyreek Hill. Like
yeah,
that play was just electric. Like, oh, it was just crazy.
I I don't know. It's weird that like Chiefs Bills has become like I don't know what Patriots Colts was back when we were young, but it's like it's always such a even this game was like it was objectively a good game, but probably this not as good as we're used to from Chiefs and Bills.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, and I feel like it's been kind of that way in the regular season recently. Like the Chiefs haven't honestly played well against the Bills in a long time.
except in
Uh,
the playoffs.
yeah, but in the regular season, I'm trying to think of any of the regular season losses. I mean, we played well in them in the one that we won. That was back in 2020. 2021, we got blown out. 2022 was like close, but I just never felt like we looked that great in that game. 23 was the Kadarius Tony offside play that
Oh
in
yeah.
that game.
I
And
mean, maybe does that give you any like reassurance here? It's like they often lose to the Bills in the regular season. I mean, I guess you're right, but the difference this time is their record, coming out of this game is
yeah,
more
like we
dire
couldn't
than it was.
afford to do it. I mean, and that was true in 2021 too. I think we lost the Bills game to go to like 3-4 or something. And then we ended up going 12-5 and then beating them in the playoffs in the 13 seconds game. So, like I put it this way, like it was a much more important game to the Chiefs for like standings purposes, but for the Bills, like psychologically, if they didn't win this game, like would they have ever thought they're gonna beat us in the playoffs? Like I feel like they had to win this one, like
Yeah.
because like they do this and then we beat them anyway. So like at least now that they won this and they looked significantly better than us, they can have some confidence that they might be able to replicate this in the playoffs.
Yeah. Yeah. But probably they won't, right? If you mean the playoffs, I would bet on the Chiefs. But
Well, the thing I don't understand is like they say things that you're like, why would you say that? Like, I don't know if you saw, I think his name is Maxwell Hairston, the corner. And he was basically in the post game talking about how like one of the things he had studied Xavier Worthy a lot on film, and he saw that Worthy had a run past tell, and that he like lined up differently versus running the pass. And it's just like, well, why are you saying that now? Like,
yeah, right.
we're gonna
Say it against a team
probably
that you will
play
not play
again.
again this year, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
what are you? Why are you saying that? Like, I didn't really understand like, and even stuff like how much Cole Bishop was on top of everything. Like, that's really good, but like it's one of those where it's like, well, you're sure as heck not going to see that stuff in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Like, so I don't know. We'll see. Obviously, like I think Josh Allen is incredible, and I think the Bills have as good of a chance as anybody ever has of beating us in the playoffs, but somehow we managed to get it done. And I'm gonna keep hoping and believing in that until the one time it doesn't happen.
Yeah, no, I think you have to. Right? Um, anything? I guess we got to wrap up soon. But is there anything else that we should mention from the past week? I was terrible about following
Well,
the
let's
games.
mention one thing that's actually not that important, but it's interesting to me that it is not that important. They set the NFL record for the longest kick made
Oh
in this
yeah,
game
yeah.
in the Jaguars Raiders.
It was
And it's weird,
68. Is that right?
68. You know, the funny thing to me is that like I don't think I know what the record was before. I think it was 66. Uh, but I'm not
Yeah,
even
I don't
sure.
know either. Yeah.
And the like 63 was like in football lore, you know, like I feel like most football fans knew that like the longest field goal was 63 yards. You knew the
Yeah.
Jack Dempsey story. Jack Dempsey, that's not his name. Tom, dude, my brain. What is what is his
I
name?
can't even tell you the guy's name.
It's
Uh,
Tom. Is it Tom Dempsey? I think that's what I'm doing. Is I think I'm just like messing. Yeah, it's Tom Dempsey. Who was Jack Dempsey? He was a boxer or something, I think.
Jack Dempsey sounds very familiar. Jack Dempsey. Yeah, boxer.
Jeez,
Also an
like
animal? Is that what?
how
Jack
many
Dempsey is
times?
an animal. What? It's a type of fish.
Oh,
Okay, well, that's not what I was thinking.
I just can't believe how many times my brain has just replaced one person with another. And Tom Dempsey, yeah, the kicker for the Saints. Like,
But but have you heard like I had heard an explanation for why they've suddenly gotten so much longer, which was
oh,
fairly
what's
compelling.
that?
But I haven't verified it, but it was that the league is now letting kickers basically use like pick their balls ahead of time and like use them to practice with the week ahead of like so that they have a sense for like which balls are like they've been kicked a number of times and they're soft enough or whatever, so they know they've practiced kicking with exactly these footballs before and then they can use those in the game. Apparently that's having an effect.
But
That's the claim at least.
I'm skeptical because again, I'll have to look this up again, but my understanding is the NFL used to be a lot more lax about letting the kickers even like manipulate the kicking balls before the game. I remember reading some story about like kickers putting the balls in like dryers or something before the game or
Oh,
something.
really?
So
Yeah.
I'll have to look this up. This will be a tease for next podcast. But
Yeah.
this sounds very familiar to me. I'll have to look it up and see if it's actually true.
Okay. Yeah, but it is strange, right? Like just the ridiculous increase in field goal length. I mean, Boswell's hitting 50 like it's nothing, and
Hmm.
I'm very grateful. But uh, I wish we could also be scoring touchdowns. Yeah, it's weird. 68 is a lot.
That's very long. All right. Well, I guess we got to wrap it up here. Only a Steelers game to talk about next week, so that'll be fun. Hopefully, a Steelers
Or
win
not,
that.
right? Yeah, yeah. Hopefully fun. All right. Yeah. Well, thanks for following along. And yeah, hopefully we have a fun game to talk about next week.
All right. Until next time.